Welcome to lesson 9A.2 on numbers over 100 in Spanish. First, it's important to review all numbers from 0 to 100 because those are the building blocks or the foundation of hitting other numbers that are above 100. 1 through 9 are the most crucial numbers because they will keep repeating even in the 10s and the 20s and the 30s, so on and so forth. As we go 0 through 10, the only thing noteworthy is that 10 is written out with a Z and not an S. So when you're having to write these numbers out, spelling is important, so make sure with diez that you end it with a Z. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now when we hit the tens, we encounter some irregulars. Most of the time, once we hit the 10 spot, we say the 10 digit and then 1 through 9. But what's happened over time, and especially in the 10s and the 20s, is the three-word structure has merged into one. And then we also have the irregulars, 11 through 15. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We can kind of see that three-word structure once we hit 16 and move on up. It used to be the word diez, the word and then the word six, seis, diez, seis. But over time, those three words were merged together, and now we have 16, 17, 18, 19, all one word. Note the accent mark in 16. The same thing happens in the 20s, but something to note is the spelling of 20, 20, E-I. A lot of people try to invert and do I-E, but that would be viente, and that is not the correct pronunciation, 20. So be careful in spelling your 20s. The same thing happens where we used to have three words, 20 y uno, but they were merged together, and so now we have 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then we hit 30. Notice the accent marks in 22, 23, and 26. Once we hit 30, or 30, everything turns into a three-word structure. From 30 on up, we go 30 and numbers 1 through 9. 30 y 1, 30 y 4, 30 y 7. But again, when people say them, it does almost sound like one word. 31, 33, 37. 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 70, 80, 80, and 90, 90, all follow the same pattern. Once you go above the 40, 50, 60, and you're going to add into the ones digit, you have to repeat your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now when we hit 100, we say 100, and that's perfectly fine. But it's what comes after that causes a little bit of a change. When we turn to anything over 100, the word 100 becomes ciento. And then we have our 200s, 200, 300s, 300, 400s, 400. 500s are spelled a little differently. It's an irregular. 500, 600, 600, 700, 700, 800, 800, 900s, 900, and then 1000. Now, once we add to the 100s or 200s or 600s or 800s, right after the 100 spot, we do not need to say the word and or e. We jump right into our 10 spot and then our 1 spot. So to say 122, 122. But to say 357, 350, and because 50 requires the 3-word component with our 1 spot, we do say 57. But notice that I didn't say 100 and I didn't say 300. Also, if you're going to go into multiple thousands, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, all you have to do is repeat your 1 through 100 and put it in front of the word mil. So then we would get something like 1731. Again, the word and is not needed. 1,731. For 4,295, 4,295. So the word and is really only needed to precede the 1 spot. The thousands and the 100s, you don't need to have the word and associated with those. And so now you can go all the way up to 100,000 or 100,000. After that, you've got to learn some new vocabulary. But practice through the sounds of your 100s. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000. Okay, and it just keeps building. Now it's your turn to show us what you know. You are going to be listening to some verbal numbers, and you'll have to write them in numeric form, as well as viewing some written numbers and having to write those out in word format. See you in class.